Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with the 31 days of cop films and gangster films from the year 1970 to the present day. And I admit that is a wide expanse of years, but hopefully that also means there is a wealth of films that one can choose from for purposes of the 31 days discussion. And that's part of the fun, at least from my perspective. And that, I think, a feeling of fun or excitement in the endeavor is, I think, very much on display from my vantage point anyway, with regard to the film that I wanted to discuss today in the context of this video, which is focusing in on the police or cop film genre. I think, like with the other genre, this particular cop film genre could also be further divided or subdivided into a variety of different subcategories. For example, the police cop comedy movie and or the buddy cop movie. And I think for this selection that I've made for purposes of today's video, I think one can say that it is both these genres, or a combination of these genres. It is a buddy cop film, it is also a comedy film, and also there are many other genres on display for good measure, or for excellent measure, I might add. So the film that I'm referring to is one that is described as being released in 2007. And this is a work which stars, among others in its really great cast, people like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Jim Broadbent and Olivia Colman and Paddy Considine and Timothy Dalton and others. This is really one of the great, this is such a great movie, and it's from the director and writer or co-writer together with Simon Pegg. This is Edgar Wright. They wrote the film, and Edgar Wright directed this film. And the film that I'm referring to is Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz. Now, before I get any further, let me just say that this is the Blu-ray, or the Blu-ray set that I have, and as you can see, there's a number of films here. There is the Hot Fuzz, and there are also other films which make up what is known as the different flavors in the films that make up the Cornetto trilogy. So we're going to speak about one of such films, which is Hot Fuzz. And my goodness, what a great film this is. Before I get any further, let me say that this set of films is utterly brilliant. From start to finish, each in its own way, these films are so thoroughly entertaining, absorbing, clever. Oh, so clever these films are in the way in which they are playing with genre, they are playing with story, they are giving us a lot of fun and witty insight into the depth and scope of the filmmakers and their love for cinema, their love for genre cinema, their love for various details of iconic films and the like. Also, there are at the hearts of these films really tender and emotional dramas, and really stories about friendships and about connections and feeling togetherness and the like. So there is a lot of heart to these films. One such film is Hot Fuzz. And Hot Fuzz, the 2007 work, is focusing in on police officers, and specifically we have the characters who are played by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So Simon Pegg portrays Nicholas Angel, who could be described as being very, say, meticulous, very almost like a perfectionist, very talented in a number of fields, a number of endeavors, and also perhaps from a certain vantage point or certain point of view, somewhat or quite uptight, to the point of him seeing a transfer due to a set of very humorously revealed circumstances from his service in the London Metropolitan Police Force to the local police force in this village called Sandford in Gloucestershire. So it's quite a ways away from the quote-unquote hustle and bustle of London city life. But therein lies part of the charm, or indeed a lot of the charm and wit and stylings of this film, because that's just the beginning. Because once the Simon Pegg character arrives in Sandford, we meet a whole cast of wonderfully brilliant and funny, eccentric and wonderfully rendered characters, included in which is the character of the Danny Butterman, the Nick Frost character, and also other members of the local police force here in Sandford. But there is also, along with the story of maybe a fish out of water, or the story of trying to find one's place, or being somewhat maybe alone or aloof, not being able to make friends and the like, there is also a story about crime. There's also a story about mystery. There's a story about death and destruction and other sorts of mysterious happenings and goings on that are occurring in this peaceful, tranquil place of Sandford. And what could be the situation, one might ask? Is there something sinister afoot, or is it all in the imagination of this newcomer, the Simon Pegg character? And will there be others along the way who will either believe what it is that maybe some like Nicholas and others might be alleging, or is this something that they will find no support in? And this further emphasizes or establishes the concept of the buddy cop thriller slash comedy. And along the way too, we have the great interactions between and among the characters. Of course, we have the one of the great relationships. The buddy cop film dynamic rests almost primarily on the success or failure of the chemistry between the buddy cops in question. Here we have the great chemistry between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It is delightful. It is funny, charming, witty. I love how they play off of each other, or as the case may be, against each other. And there might be instances where one can say that maybe they're playing against type from a certain point of view, especially if one knows how their roles play out in, say, some of the other films in the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead and At World's End. But that's also a wonderful, witty sense of the surprise of this film, and there are many surprises here. But that's not all in terms of the relationships, because other very important relationships are with or among the characters and the local community. And that means also the members of the local police force, the Jim Broadbent character, Olivia Colman character, etc., and also members of the community that we and Simon Pegg's character meet along the way. Just to give a few examples, there is, I think, some they're all highlights and they're all surprises, but let me just mention here Timothy Dalton in what has to be one of the I've mentioned on this channel, on this YouTube channel, just how much I am a big fan of Timothy Dalton. And this is one of the reasons why, because of his appearance and his role, his masterful performance here in Hot Fuzz. This is really great. And that is not all, because there are so many other great surprises, great appearances by wonderful actors and very famous actors. So that's part of the fun of watching a film like Hot Fuzz. So please enjoy that, or enjoy it again if you're watching it for a second or third or many other times. Much like me, I've seen this film a number of times, and I'm just totally overjoyed every time I watch it. I must say too that my feelings of elation or feeling overjoyed, that's not the only feeling I have when I watch this film, Hot Fuzz. I also feel thrilled and shocked and grossed out. There are some moments of real horror film vibes going on. There's maybe what might be called the gothic horror element. There is the There's maybe the overtones of the occult, or what might be perceived as being possibly the occult in the occult horror films. There's also the out and out splatterfest, gore fest of type of over the top horror film type special effects as well. So there's all of that too, in really, really good measure. But also it's balanced so well with the comic aspects. The humor is applied so vigorously and so cleverly, and it comes from so many places. And what's great too is, with regard to the humor and the balancing act, there are different types of, say, comedic method acting, for lack of a better phrase. So each performer, each actor gives a different type of styling to the comedic proceedings. And that's also, I think, emphasized or buttressed by the fact that these characters are really well-rounded, each in their own respective ways, and they bring a type of interesting changing dimension or dynamic. And sometimes there's a kind of friendly rivalry, sometimes there are even more tense relationships, but there are other times when there might be possibilities of bonding or connection or understanding, and how that plays itself out in the context of these plot developments involving whether or not, or the elements of mystery, and whether or not there are indeed some type of sinister underpinnings at work in this otherwise peaceful, idyllic village of Sanford, or whether it's all in the imagination of the characters, or if there's something more going on. But the point that I wanted to bring at again is that there are so many possibilities of different types of humor, and it comes, I think, in large part due to the different types of performances, different types of approaches that I think are a part of the great ensemble, which is a very important aspect to it. And again, balance and variety and humor, all in good measure. And also, there is a part of that discussion of the different levels of humor is also the dialogue. The dialogue is really spot on. It's witty, it's clever, it's alive, and it's delivered with such great relish and clever repartee, and that's just another part of the charm of this film. And that's not all, because this has great action set pieces. Those action set pieces also give rise to wonderful connections and references made to other staple landmark milestone films of the genre, and so that makes for really clever movie references to boot. And two, there is a heart and there's a warmth to this film that is not that is also really very cleverly applied. Sometimes it's to service the comedy of the film, the humor of the film, to add a sense of irony or eccentricity to the proceedings, and or it is applied in a way to really give a sense of sincere, earnest warmth and human connection and emotion, because this is a film that is about trying to belong and maybe not feeling accepted, or trying to make friends and not being able to, or trying to get along with family or the like, or just trying to stick to one's own feelings of oneself. But sometimes also there's the recognition of the need to get along, and that those, I think, relationships are very understandable and they're very accessible. And that makes, therefore, the viewing of this, when I see this, I can totally get into that, and that allows me into the world. So it has that that great sense of maybe pastiche or humor, or type of homage or parody, that has a great theatrical and over-the-top stylized effect to it. It is also a very clever, witty, written comedy that has visual gags and humor with many sources of comic performance. And also, it has the way in terms of our the viewer sympathies, or the human emotional connections. And I think once it's there and it's established, it makes us even more involved in wanting to know what happens beginning, middle, and end, and wanting to root for the characters, root for the heroes, root for the protagonists, and trying to get at the bottom of what it is they're trying to solve, and rooting for them all along the way. And when there are surprises, when there are shocks, we too are surprised, we too are shocked. So that is to say that this is a total package of film entertainment, resting really well within the police and crime, buddy cop comedy genre, as well as resting so comfortably and so nicely in other great examples of say horror and other genre. And I think that's due in part to, of course, the filmmakers Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. We know, of course, their love of cinema, their love of a genre, their love of many sorts of films, and that love shines through so brilliantly, as well as giving us this great example of the police crime film, mystery, murder, mystery, or is it? Are we talking about murder or not? Murder, 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 murder. So are we talking about this or not? That's part of the element of suspense and surprise, and maybe it's all in the figment of the imaginations of the character. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that's part of the fun, and that's part of wanting to tag along for the ride. And my goodness, what a ride this is! It goes all sorts of places, and it succeeds every step of the way. This is fun, this is exhilarating, this is exciting, this is funny. Oh my goodness, how funny this is. This is a great film through and through, all around. This is the film from 2007 from Edgar Wright. This is the film Hot Fuzz. Okay, my dear friends, so that's it for now, and until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.